For moms or parents, moms and dads watching right now, parents watching right now, as someone who has studied this for 3 decades, what is the link between nutrition and mental health?
The reality is it gets really complicated fast, and there are a lot of mental health professionals who are still skeptical about this field. I'm going to just say that up front.
Sure. And is there research or science that you've seen that's...
There is a tremendous amount of research and science clearly documenting these links.
And what is the link, and then what is the research and science saying about the link between mental health and nutrition?
So let's build on what we were just talking about, obesity and mental health.
Because there's a correlation there.
Most people understand that nutrition is related to obesity, that what you're eating plays a role in obesity. Yes. I don't have to fight too hard to convince people of that. So if we can assume that that is true, what you put in your mouth day to day plays a role in whether you have obesity or not. Once a child has, or an adult has obesity, they have no history of mental illness at all. They start out with obesity. Once you have obesity, you are at dramatically increased risk for a wide range of mental disorders.
Really?
Nicotine use disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, major depression, anxiety disorders, personality disorders, eating disorders. Essentially, all of the mental health conditions, all of the major categories of mental health conditions that we have are included. So if you have obesity, you are at much higher risk of developing a wide range of mental health conditions.
Wow.
If your parents have obesity, their offspring are at much greater risk of having neurodevelopmental disorders.
Oh, man.
Meaning autism, ADHD,
Really?
learning disorders, and others.
What is the percentage or number of, like, when someone reaches obesity level, what is the likelihood that they'll also have a mental health disorder or condition? Is there like you're 20% more likely, you're 80% more likely to have some type of mental health challenge?
So honestly, the real details of that get down to what age is the person? Are they at an age where this disorder is more likely to occur or even be diagnosed or recognized?
Sure.
But the rates range anywhere from the low end is 50% more likely to have a mental health condition. The high end is 350%.
Holy cow.
3.5 times more likely to have mental health conditions, including things like schizophrenia,
Really?
bipolar disorder.
Just linked to obesity.
So we have a really good longitudinal study of children. So researchers followed over 5,000 kids from birth to age 24. So even before they have obesity, they have insulin resistance, which we can measure. The children at age 9 who had the highest levels of insulin resistance were 5 times more likely, it's 500% more likely to develop a psychotic disorder.
Holy cow.
By the time they were 24. That's bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. The children who gain the most weight around the time of puberty, 4 times more likely to have major depression by the time they turn 24. You could mix and match those statistics, but those were the statistically significant findings. But children who gained a lot of weight around puberty were also more likely to develop psychotic disorders and all sorts of other disorders. And likewise, children with high levels of insulin resistance, more likely to develop mood disorders and other disorders. But the bottom line is that, and a 5-fold increased risk, I want to be clear, when we talk about statistics like, oh, maybe eating so much red meat is bad for you, those epidemiological studies at best find 10%, 15% increased risk over years. We're talking 500% increased risk.
Man.
This is not trivial. This is like slap in the face. This is a stronger connection than genes, genetics, than family history, than other things.
Because a lot of people say, well, mental health illness is like genetic, right? It's like a genetic thing, or it was in my family or my grandfather or something. But is that true? Or is it more, well, if they were obese and you also were obese as a child, it's just kind of linked because that was your environment and that was the habits that your parents did. And so you took on those habits. Like, is it truly genetic, or is it more an environmental pass down?
I think there's truth in, there are some risk genes that we have identified. And interestingly, almost all of them can be linked directly to metabolism, or specifically mitochondria. We can get into the nerdy biology if you want, but they can, almost all of them can be linked to metabolic health.
And if you have a weaker genetic metabolic health symptoms or conditions, are you able to reverse that and improve that, even if it was linked in your genes from your family?
I believe we can.
Wow.
And that's
huge.
That, in my mind, is the hope.
Now, is that a belief, or is there science or research backing the belief?
There is. So we don't have massive randomized clinical trials with thousands of patients yet.
Yes.
So some will say, until we have a randomized controlled trial of 10,000 people with schizophrenia, we're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
Fine.
But based on your practice?
Based on my practice, based on the thousands of people that I'm hearing from, based on the pilot trials that are getting done, yes, 100%.
Wow.
I know these strategies, metabolic treatment strategies, can save lives, literally.
Wow.
Can save lives. And
these require no drugs.
Yeah, if anything, the challenge sometimes is getting people off of drugs that they've been on for years or decades.
So their body can start to heal and get into a cycle of harmony.
Yes.
Not a cycle of chemical changing or blocking or disrupting.
Yes. Again, because of this, I'm not anti-medication. And if somebody's taking medications and is thriving on that medication, keep doing it. I love people thriving. And if somebody is saying, I take a stimulant for my ADHD and I'm thriving now, great, keep thriving. If somebody else says, I have anxiety or depression and I take Prozac and it has saved my life and I'm doing great on it and I don't have any side effects, great, keep doing it. But more often than not, a lot of people are not thriving on psychotropic medications. At best, they are managing what they are being told are chronic mental health conditions. You're going to be like this for the rest of your life. You just have to accept that, it must be genetic. The researchers and the clinicians who say that, I have zero doubt, they actually have such good intentions when they say that.
100%.
And the intention is, I don't want to blame people, and I want them to know this isn't your fault. This isn't your fault. But by telling people it's genetic,
it kind of gives them an out, right? It's like, it's not my fault. And there's nothing I can do about it.
So I think I think that a lot of people think that that's benevolent. I actually think it's harmful because you're making people hopeless. You're telling people that you are defective.
That's not good.
Your genes are defective. It's not your fault. It's your parents' fault, and their grandparents' fault, and their parents' fault, and their parents' fault.
And you're gonna be on medication for the rest of your life.
But you're gonna have to take medicines for the rest of your life.
I don't like that.
And we're sorry that these meds aren't working ideally.
This is the best
We're
we got.
sorry that you're in the hospital every other year.
Oh man.
We're sorry that you can't work because your depression and anxiety are so bad, or because your mood instability is so bad, or because your ADHD is so bad, or because your learning disorder is so bad. We're sorry you can't work. We're sorry you're not thriving. But that's just the way it is. And you're just going to have to accept it. And accept that you've got this unfortunate condition. Again, in the last 25 years, we're telling that to 4 times more people.
Crazy.
4 times more people than we were 25 years ago. And it's not because we're just recognizing it more. People's brains are being impaired. That's what I think. At the same time that we have skyrocketing rates of obesity and diabetes, and we see impairment and appetite signaling and satiety signaling and, fat cells and everything else. Obesity is that. Obesity is a biological, pathological process. It is not good for you. By and large, I think for most people, it's not their fault. If somebody's telling you, eat this food, eat these chips, eat these Pop-Tarts, these are good for you, and you're eating them, and those things are making you sick, I think the first step is somebody needs to inform the person that these are not good for you. These are actually toxic for you. They're harming your health. And so we need to start there. And then we need to start with, schools aren't passing out cigarettes. They're not passing out vapes. Why are they passing out other harmful substances to our children?